vlog, boat repower vlog. This one has been edited together. I've just finished doing the raw water pump, and but because of the complexity of it, the videos are all little sort of short videos that I made. I'll try and edit them together coherently, and so you get some idea of what I was actually doing. But I wanted to make a raw water pump for it. As you'll find out if you ever have to do this job, raw water pumps are super expensive. Like, you can't really buy one under $500 that's any good. So certainly what I've done is a lot cheaper than that. It's with all the materials and everything, it's still way under $300, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm very proud of it. So you'll see what I've done anyway. Yeah, check it out. Okay, so after asking a bunch of people, well, 3 people, whether I needed a freshwater pump, I've gone to work on that project. Now, I can't remember which is which. I'm pretty sure this is where the steering pump mounts on a V6. And I think the aircon mounts on this side. So I had some of this 40mm plate, which I've had for probably about 14 years, laying around the place, and I actually use it for. I've been using this piece on the drill and on the mill for just a sacrificial plate, to put under things when I was milling. But I mean, it's perfectly okay to use for this. It's good aluminium, so. Went and saw the boys at Aqua Sports Marine, and I have to say, if you're in Perth, Aqua Sports Marine in Midland are just... Rob from that place is just the spare parts guy, sort of head guy there. He's just amazing. He's helped me out with so much stuff. He sold me a kit, and this is part of the kit. I'll show you the rest in a minute. But the kit comes with the body, the rotor, the impeller, and a plate, this stainless plate here. I'll pull it all apart so you can see it in a minute. Obviously I'm making this plate, and I'm going to make basically a setup where I've got a pulley over here. All the rest of the stuff's here. I've got a pulley off a power steering pump. It's off a Commodore power steering pump. A late model one, actually. I think it's a VE one or something. And it'll sit. It's going to sit somewhere out there. Yeah, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bore this hole so that there's a seal at the bottom of it facing that way, facing the pump. A Viton seal, good quality one. A big double row bearing in this housing, and then I'll machine this face to take like a nose cone, and in that nose cone will be a second bearing, like a 6004, a smaller bearing, and another seal just to keep everything nice and dry and oil tight. Okay, we're back again. That's some engine mounts. This is basically the kit. Comes with that stainless plate. Comes with the body and impeller. It did have some other bolts, but they were galvanized steel, and I'm going to get some stainless bolts for it. Also, I really like to work in metric, so instead of making these 5/16, I made them 8mm. And all I really did was sort of lay this plate on here about where I needed it to be. The first thing I did was I mounted this to the motor in a place where, it was going to be long enough for the pump to be out of the way of everything. Then I mounted this on there, found centres, and just started scribing everything and finding the centres and bashing it, and it's certainly accurate enough to use. It's really good. So it goes together easily. So now what I've got is where is it? So how it's going to be is, sorry, I'm trying to work it all out. As it goes through the plate, so that's how it's going to be. There'll be this bearing, this seal, okay, the impeller, that plate, and then the impeller, and then in the nose cone that's going to bolt on, it's going to be that little bearing and that seal, probably this way. And what I'll do is I'll make the shaft with shoulders on it so that so once it's bolted together, nothing can move. Because the last thing you want is the pulley to be moving backward and forward, and also you want it to have a lot of support because it's going to have the tension of the belt tension on it all the time, and once the motor gets moving, you really don't want that plate to move, which is why I made it out of 40mm, and I put just like 4 bolts holding it on, and it'll be plenty strong, I would think. And I've got a permanent thing where I can just buy the kits when it shits itself, and I've got a new raw water pump, and the kits aren't cheap. Kits aren't expensive. I bought that one at Aquasports, and it wasn't super cheap, but it was a lot cheaper than buying a $700 fucking raw water pump, you know, and then have to mount it anyway, you know. So this way I'm making a bespoke mount, which is going to work, and you know, I got a nice piece of solid bar here that I'm going to make the shaft out of. This is 305, I think. I think it's 35mm 305 bar. We've got a couple of metres of that. And one of the other things that's great about this kit is it's actually very easy to make the shaft because it's a D drive, meaning, as you can see there, it's just a round shaft with a flat milled on it, which is probably the easiest thing to make. You know, it's really easy. All you need to do is machine it round and then grind a flat or mill a flat onto it. So that makes it very easy. So it will be secure in this. It will be secure in this. The shaft won't move at all, and there'll just basically be a 19mm shaft poking out of here with a big flat on it, and literally everything will just assemble from the outside. Plate, impeller, cover, and then the cover goes on, and then you got a raw water pump. As long as everything aligns okay and everything looks like it is, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. Like I say, I got that nice pulley off a late model Holden from the Holden records, and actually it was the cheapest way to buy a pulley because for the most part he sold me a power steering pump because they don't really pull them apart. So, and you can't buy the pulley separately, they just sell a power steering pump. So I bought a second-hand power steering pump off him for like next to nothing, fucking $30 or something, and I got a good fucking low case pulley. So in that way it's really good. So, and that's about it. What I'll do is I'll pause this, and then once I've done more machining and I've got all the bits made and I can actually assemble it and show you what I mean, yeah, we'll okay, it's very late, and this is how far we've got. We've got made a shaft, and the obviously that slides onto there. It's a nice fit, very good. Certainly wouldn't want it too tight because I think it'd be a bit of a handful to get off. We've got a shaft with a good Viton seal in there, and on this side, nice big double row roller bearing. And obviously once the nose cone goes onto here with the other bearing and seal in it, and I finish machining the shaft, which just slides in like that, everything's going to be held in place, and there's going to be a ring of bolts around here that hold the nose cone on. It'll fit snugly into there, everything's going to be round, and there'll be a shoulder on this end, and then another shoulder that locates the pulley so that you can never fuck up by putting the pulley out of line, basically. So yeah, so far so good. I mean, it's happening. Yeah, it's happening. And it'll just be a matter of, once all this side of it's done and the pulley's on, it will literally just be a matter of bolting the pump kit on this side of the plate, and that's it. So we'll resume again when that happens today. And my pump's nearly finished. Belt out of the way. Yeah, there's my pump. So power steering pulley off the impeller's not installed yet. I haven't done that. All I've done is sort of loose it. It's not loose, but it's not tensioned properly. So there's my mounting block. There's a 5205 double row bearing in there and a 6004 in here. A seal at either end, a Viton seal here facing outwards, so stop water getting in the bearings, and just a normal normal rubber seal in there just to stop the grease leaking out and making a mess. I'll probably put some kind of sealant behind this when I put it on, or possibly even put an O-ring on the... What am I fucking talking about? Oh, an O-ring on the radius, and just a really thin one just to seal it, stop grease getting out of there. Like I say, everything else is sealed and nice and solid. There's no end float, there's no axial radial play in it, and it spins beautifully. So it worked out a lot better than I'd hoped, actually. It's and as you know, I've got a shaft coming out here that I can mount my impeller on. So yeah, that's how it worked out. Now, I don't have a belt the right length, obviously. And every time I change something, I've got to get another belt. I had a belt that worked. But since, sorry, I just bumped into something. But yeah, since I know it looks like it's miles out, but actually I had to sort of do that because it only just sort of clears the motor on this side. I didn't want to put it any closer just because it's a plastic housing and the head's going to get really hot. So, but it's not in the way of anything. It's not going to be in the way of the exhaust. It's not going to be in the way of the spark plug at all. And it's in a spot where it'll be perfectly safe. It's a nice solid mount, and I think it's going to work. It's as good as, you know, even if I bought a complete pump, which I didn't, I just bought a kit, I would have had to mount it. I would have had to make something like this plate anyway to mount it to. And I thought, well, let's just integrate the whole thing, and then all I have to do in the future when it shits itself is buy either an impeller or a kit which comes with the body. I think I showed you that in an early video. I've got to edit all this together. So yeah, it comes with all that. But yeah, it's really exciting. What do you want, pup? Oh. There he is. Come here, Trouble. There you go, mate. Good on you. The last job I've really got to do on the motor itself is the exhaust, and that's what I'll be tackling in the next video. Okay.